What's going on, everyone? So Los Angeles Lakers decided to go to Detroit and lay an absolute dud. Look, losses happen. It's fine, right? Anybody can beat anybody on any given night. That's why you play 82 games, part of the game of basketball. Good teams lose to bad teams all the time. It happens. It's not what this was. This wasn't something where like Detroit just shot the lights out and just played this excellent brand of basketball and the Lakers just couldn't buy a bucket or it just wasn't their night or whatever. No, this was a team that came into Detroit and just decided not to play. I mean, you and me could have done a better job than what the Lakers put out there as far as a product went. They should be embarrassed and ashamed. Like, that was awful basketball. Atrocious. And this is a problem with the Lakers that we saw last year. Now, look, I don't think it's Chicken Little, skies falling, Lakers season's over. I don't think it's anything to that level yet, because this has been one game in which we saw this. But this was a regular occurrence last year. We saw where we questioned the Lakers' effort regularly, particularly in the first halves, right? Remember last year it was first halves. Lakers were terrible. And then it flip-flopped to second halves. Lakers were terrible. And lo and behold, it ended up biting them in the behind when they ended up playing the Denver Nuggets in the first round of the playoffs. Every game, Lakers were up at halftime, and if the game ended at halftime, guess what? Lakers sweep Denver. But it doesn't work that way, right? There's two halves to a game, and the Lakers just completely fell apart in the second half, and it was incredibly frustrating to see. But further highlights the Lakers' issues. The Lakers need trades. I've talked about it all offseason. I've maintained it even through the season, even when they were 3-0. I said, hey, I love the start. This is great, but Lakers still clearly have some holes, clearly have some issues. I did a whole, breakdown analysis for, after the first 5 games, and I said, they clearly need another center. You got to go get a Walker Kessler or a Valanciunas or something like that. But look, the Lakers need to still maintain patience. And I know that's not something that we're great at, right? I understand that that's not something that we really want to see right now. I know people don't want to hear that, but we do. Problem is it's easier to maintain patience when you're winning. Because now you're approaching these trade conversations as a team that is not desperate for a trade, but as a team that, hey, we would like to have this guy. We don't need him. We just would like to have him. Where when you start getting behind the 8 ball, it's like, oh, no, we need him. Right? And now those opposing teams have the ball in their court. No team wants to be the team that helps the Lakers win another championship. Right? So teams want to be able to say, hey, we fleeced the Lakers. We got an insane deal that it was just too good to be true. We couldn't pass it up. We had to take it. And that's the problem. Right? Like Walker Kessler, for example. I love Walker Kessler. Right? And ask yourself this. Because I never get really an answer to this question. Right now, everybody wants both firsts unprotected from the Lakers. That's what every team is asking for. Right? Even Walker Kessler. Right now, we could go get Walker Kessler right this second. But it would be Jalen Hood-Schifino, which is fine. But it would also be 2 unprotected firsts. They want both of our firsts, and they want Jalen Hood-Schifino. Again, Jalen Hood-Schifino part, no-brainer. Do it. But Walker Kessler by himself does not make us a bona fide contender. Walker Kessler by himself does not make us one of the top 3 to 5 teams in the league. He doesn't. He makes us better. He would help with our bench production. He would help with our size, our rebound, right? Shot blocking. I would love Walker Kessler. I definitely think we'd be a much better team. But him by himself does not make us a contender. Here's the question, right? What one player, just one, not Levine and Brown pick one player. Which one player is worth both unprotected firsts and makes us a contender? One of the bona fide contenders. I don't think that exists. Not a singular player, which is why the Lakers have to be patient, which is why it's frustrating. And no, seriously, I want to hear your thoughts. If you can answer that question, I'd love to hear it. What one player, and it has to be a realistic player, right? Because obviously like Giannis, yeah, sure. But no, I'm talking about the names that have been mentioned, right? You got Walker Kessler, you got Bruce Brown, Cam Johnson. Again, not Walker Kessler and Colin Sexton. Not Walker Kessler and Jordan Clarkson. Not Bruce Brown. No, one player. The conversations are, hey, you want Kessler? We want both first. Right? There's not a trade at the moment, unless a team decides to drop their price, and none of these teams are in a rush. That's the problem. But the Lakers need trades. They need athleticism badly, like badly. They got to break up that backcourt of D'Lo and Reeves. They really do. It's not working. It's a complete redundancy. They're not going to trade Reeves, so you got to trade D'Lo. I'm still huge on Zach LaVine. The closest, in my opinion, the closest answer to that question of like which player for both, it's Zach LaVine, right? Because one, you don't have to give up 2 firsts, and 2, Zach LaVine is the best player that's available that gives us the highest ceiling. Again, in my opinion. So, if I was to answer that question, I would say Zach LaVine. But that, like Zach LaVine, you can still make other moves, but you're limited, right? Because of how much salary you have to send out, and you're trading D'Lo, Rui, and Gabe Vincent to go get him. So now you have like, Max Christie, Jared Vanderbilt, and that you have basically, you could get to another like $22 million if you needed to, right? But that's the thing, right? Like they gotta figure something out though, right? Like this team's just not there. Look, do the Lakers have a chance? Sure, right? Could they have a puncher's chance? Absolutely, right? I could absolutely see the Lakers hoisting the Larry O'Brien trophy. You get the right matchups in the playoffs. All of a sudden, you're in the conference finals. You trust LeBron James and Anthony Davis to just go sicko mode for 8 games. I don't think it's impossible, but it's not something I'd bet on. It's not something that I count on. It's not like something that I'm like, oh man, Lakers. Like I wouldn't tell anybody. I wouldn't put $1 on it. Like it's just the Lakers just aren't that team, right? Like I don't think they're like terrible. I don't think they're a dumpster fire, right? I still believe that they'll win around 50, 52 games. I said 52 games. I still think that they'll do that. But this is just an ugly loss. And the problem is these are the type of game that you look back and go like, man, if we just won that Detroit game, right? Like we'd be the 4 seed instead of the 6 seed. Or we'd be the 6 seed instead of the 8th seed. Especially in the Western Conference, how tight the Western Conference is. I mean, go look at the standings in the Western Conference. Here, I'll run through it real quick, right? Got the Thunder 7-0, Suns 6-1, Warriors 6-1, Rockets 4-3, Lakers 4-3, Mavericks 4-3, Timberwolves 4-3, Kings 4-3, Nuggets 4-3, Grizzlies 4-4. Literally, you have counting the Lakers, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams. 6 teams with a 4-3 record. So basically, team 4 through 9 all have a 4-3 record. This Detroit game literally could be the difference between you being the 5 seed or the 9th seed. Like, that's terrible. The Lakers got to get a trade done. They really need a third consistent guy, in my opinion. I mean, they have several needs, but they need a guy that they can rely on, which is why I like Zach LaVine so much. Because, again, like Austin Reeves, incredibly inconsistent. He's inconsistent. Every time I talk about it, like people come at me like I don't know what I'm talking about. Again, look at his play. Look at this season. Go look at his shooting. I'm not talking about it. I'm talking about like his lack of shooting and his consistency shooting the basketball. He can't shoot. Not regularly. He has games. He has like 3 or 4 games where he's great, and then he has 3 or 4 games where he's bad. Same thing happened last season. This game, shot 3 of 10 from 3, 7 of 17 from the floor. Right? I get he had 17 points. Took him 17 shots. 17 shots to get 17 points. That's not good for those that are wondering. Right? That's not good at all for those that are wondering. Like D'Lo, same thing. Like D'Lo been incredibly inconsistent too. He was 4 of 14. He was 2 of 5 from 3, which is 40%, but he's 4 of 14 overall. Right? But you got to break up that backcourt. Right? But if you can get that consistent guy, if you can get a guy like a Zach LaVine or even a Jeremy Grant, although I like Zach LaVine more just for the offensive purposes, but Jeremy Grant, you could argue, better two-way guy. though Zach LaVine's just the better bucket getter. But the thing is that, like, Zach LaVine on a terrible night, on a super bad night, he's still going to be more efficient and he's going to give you better offense. So now Austin Reeves gets to be the fourth guy. So now when he is inconsistent, it's not as big of a deal. It's not the end of the world. You can survive. You'll be okay. But when he is playing well and he is shooting light, you're winning every one of those games. Right? As long as Zach LaVine, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis halfway show up, you're winning all those games. Right? So, like, that's my thing. As long as if you can go get that certified, like, hey, this guy's clearly our third best player, then now I think you're just in a position where it's like, okay, like, we're in good shape, right? Like, when things are going good, they're going to go good. When things are going bad, you still have a chance. That's what I like about Zach LaVine. And Zach LaVine's been great, right? Like, one of his worst games, he scored like 21, right? He was 7-17, just like Austin Reeves, but he was 5-9 from 3. 21 points, right? 5-9 from 3, 1 steal, only 2 turnovers, right? 34 minutes, 2 assists, 1 rebound, right? Like, that's not bad, right? Like, at least he gave you 4 more points. That could be the difference between, like, you get an extra 4 points. That Detroit game is completely different, right? Completely different. So again, the Lakers have a lot of redundancies. They need bench depth. They need legit 3-and-D guys. There's several things that they need, but it's just, you gotta, I don't know, you gotta figure it out, right? Like, you gotta get a trade done sooner rather than later. I think I actually do think that the Kessler trade, at least, Lakers will probably take a Clarkson or a Sexton or something like that. Hopefully Sexton, fingers crossed. But I do think that the Lakers very likely get some type of deal done, if I had to guess. Thing is, they're probably not going to do anything until after the road trip. It's just, the road trip's almost over. You're not gonna do a trade, 2 days before the road trip. You'll wait for it to end. So I think the earliest that we get a trade done, if we do. Again, I want to make that very clear. One, I'm not an insider, I'm just a fan. But if the earliest I could see a trade getting done, it's just hypothetical. Again, I want to make that clear. Earliest I could see a trade getting done would be on the 7th, when they get back from that Grizzlies game. Grizzly games ends next day. I could see maybe a trade getting done and it being Walker Kessler or something. But chances are they're probably going to wait and be patient, right? Worst case, you wait for a Valanciunas who you got to wait another month and a half for, because he's not available till December 15th. Which would not be ideal. Again, I talked about this last year with the starting 5, right? Again, videos are on this channel. Videos are on As It Stands Lakers. Starting 5, when their offense is clicking, they're tough to beat. Tough to beat. But like I said, even when the Lakers were 8-0 with this roster, with this starting 5, when Rui got injected in the starting lineup, and they were 8-0 with that unit, what did I say? I said, yeah, I love the offense, but what happens when the offense isn't clicking? How do you stop anybody? Guess what happened? Offense is working. When the offense is clicking, all of a sudden we're up 20. We're smacking Denver. We're going to sweep them, baby. We're all high-fiving each other. It's a big party. Life's great. Everything's looking beautiful. Then all of a sudden, boom, offense hits that wall. Denver comes back, beats us in 5 games. I mean, it was the same story every single game. Defense, we can't stop anybody. We just can't. We can't stop anybody. It's a problem. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you think that, Lakers, they got to get a trade done ASAP? It's dire. It's essentially emergency. How do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, I love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. If you enjoy these types of videos, truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.